Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here this morning and to receive this award. I've got so many fond memories of these meetings, the people in this room, and the opportunities that I've been given by the SAEA. And I want to thank you all for this award. You know, usually we have more people than this receiving the award. So some people have been warning me this morning, please do not use all the time allocated just because there's only one of you. So I will try to keep it a little bit shorter. But let me give you a few thoughts this morning. The first thing I want to do is, as a prologue, is to talk about my family and about my wife. The picture on the left there is actually my father. I grew up on a dairy farm in southern Missouri. I like this picture of Dad because it seems so typical of him. He instilled a lot of things in me, but one of the things he could not instill in me is a love of horses. My brother and I despised horses in spite of how much he loved horses. But in terms of work ethic, and as a man who had a 9th grade education, he repeatedly told me, education is your ticket to a better life than I've had. And that has proven to be true. And I think it says a lot about our educational system, our land-grant system that I'm a product of, that I was the son of a 9th grade educated man could get a PhD and have the career and the opportunities that I've had. The other picture with my wife in the center, as it is appropriate with our family and our children, and Kim, notice I even used a picture that my mother-in-law is included in. So I was an ag ed major as an undergrad. I moved to Kim's hometown, met and married her. About 6 months after we got married, I said, I'm tired of teaching, I want to go back and get a PhD. Kim reacted rather well. My mother-in-law did not. So I drug her away from her family to places like Texas and Virginia and Mississippi. And she has been the mainstay in our family all these years. And I appreciate her and for all that she's done and the mother that she's been to our children. I also want to think, when you get an award like this, I want to think about along the way all the people that have affected me. When I say that I've really been lucky, I look at some of the interactions that I've had that have profoundly affected my life. I think about teachers that I had at the grade school level, people that I met. I got several congratulations from undergraduate friends from Missouri, my experiences as an ag teacher, my fellow grad students from when I was at Texas A&M that had been harassing me all during these meetings. My time that I spent at USDA ERS profoundly affected my career. To be honest with you, I didn't get a job offer in a land grant. I went to ERS. I didn't want to go to ERS at that time, but in hindsight, it was the best thing for me to do professionally. It made my career in many respects. And then I went to Mississippi State because we decided that our children needed to be within 1 day's drive of their grandparents, and I applied to any job within that circle, and Mississippi State was the first place that offered me a job. We landed there, and we stayed there, to our surprise, to be honest, and found a place that was home for us and a lot of great colleagues along the way. And this picture is a picture that was taken a few months ago, back in October or November. Lisa House was in it, Barry's in it, John Anderson, Jason Lusk, and myself. We were all assistant professors under John Lee, former head of ERS and department head at Mississippi State when I arrived there. And I think sometimes when I think about why did I become a department head, because I had a great department head early in my career. And so the people that you meet that influence you along the way matter a great deal. Mentoring is a word that we use a lot today. With the AAEA, we spend a lot of time talking about mentoring. We're going to put out a draft strategic plan soon, and it's going to talk about mentoring. But one of the things that I will recommend to you is don't wait for somebody else to decide the mentoring program for you. This is what I watched Jason Lusk do early in his career, and it seemed to work out okay for Lusk professionally, is that he sat down and sought out his own mentors. He identified the people that most likely could be beneficial and help him and advise him. And he reached out to them. And for those of you that are young professionals in this discipline, I would say to you, for the most part, if you will reach out to senior faculty that you admire, that have researched an area that you want to work, I think you should have the right to expect for them to respond and give you sound advice. May not be what you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear. To those of us who are more senior, I would encourage us to be mentors. Not bosses, but mentors. Give people the advice that they need. And to be honest with you, on the days that I'm signing a lot of forms and doing a lot of paperwork as a department head, I have to remind myself that I get to mentor young faculty and students. And that's the reason to do that job. The other thing that I would suggest to our younger members is be collaborative. I really and truly believe that an awful lot of my success in this profession is because I've worked with great people. The best part of being an economist is getting in a room and talking through an idea about a research project and getting excited about what we might discover along the way. I think the other thing is that we need to make our departments a great place to work for junior faculty. Not for senior faculty, but for junior faculty. And I think that's one of the lessons that John Lee taught us at Mississippi State, is that encourage, support, promote, reward junior faculty. But also, I will remind you that in a lot of the discussion about mentoring, it doesn't preclude the fact that it's not easy to succeed in this profession. It takes hard work. Nobody's going to do it for you. As Jimmy Dugan said in A League of Their Own, if it was easy, everyone would do it. And if it was easy, everyone would be doing what we do, and that's not true. I want to talk a little bit, because I'm the president of the AAEA, a few of the things that, since I have you in the captive audience today, a few of the things that keep me up at night thinking about what we need to do as a profession. One of them is, I think for a variety of reasons, there's a lot of attacks, there's a lot of criticism, there's a lot of lack of support for our land grant model. I love the land grant model, the teaching, the research, the extension, integration. We often see it done poorly. We often see it not quite right. The three legs of the stools are not of equal length. Sometimes they don't like each other. But if we can get that synergism going, where those three parts are all integrated fully, it's impressive and it accomplishes a great deal. I think there are some that have lost sight of that, and we need to remind people that we need that model in our departments, in our colleges, and in our profession. The other thing that when I agreed to run for office at AAEA, I had no idea what was about to come down the Economic Research Service. We can look back, we can say what if, but now as a profession, and I challenge all of us to rebuild an agency that needs a lot of graduate level economists. It needs good people. I will point out to you, I've had conversations with some of those in the room, and I want to say this broadly. I will submit to you that we have a problem, and that is we are not doing a good enough job recruiting our own undergraduate students to graduate school. When we do that, we will help in the long run solve what was a problem in our departments, was a problem for extension, was a problem for ERS for many, many years. You know, ERS has this requirement that you have to be a citizen to work there. And the supply of people to work at ERS is simply too small. And I think one of the things that we as economists ought to understand is that when the private sector offers our undergraduate students a really nice salary at that point, that we've got to compete. And we've got to explain to people why we have to compete to get our best students to go to grad school. Another thing that I think all of us in this room need to think about is how does our profession maintain its strength and vitality? Fundamentally, we are departments that are, for the most part, ag and environmental or natural resource economics. Some parts more than others, one way or the other. Talking to Joshua Duke the other day about in the Northeast, it's mostly environmental and natural resources. We need strength in both of those areas. We need to respect both of those areas. We also need to think about expanding our footprint in a logical fashion, not a random fashion. So the creation of the health economics section of the AAEA this past year was something that I'm excited about. Are we going to overtake all of health economics? No. But I think there are some health economists that fit naturally within our profession. They can help us with rural health issues. They can help us with consumer demand, obesity, those type of issues, and we'll be a stronger profession. Constantly be thinking about where our profession can expand its footprint, but not stretch itself until we become a set of islands that are just loosely associated with each other. One of the things that has surprised me a little bit, and of all people, I've had a running dialogue with David Zilberman at Berkeley about this. Because David will always have an interesting perspective on everything. Most of our students are looking to go into agribusiness. But we're, for the most part, trained as PhD ag economists. I think there is a distinction